Okay, hello, can you hear me? I'm wearing my lucky cat socks. I don't know if you can see those. Okay, let's jump into it. So, it's 2018. I'm sitting in a cubicle in a courthouse office in Queens, New York, talking to Mary, who's just been evicted from her public housing apartment. She's a Haitian immigrant. She's lost everything. All of her important documents, her daughter's medication, her son's toys, all of their clothes. They're staying with a cousin. Her kids are sharing the couch, and she's sleeping on the floor in the living room. She's not going to get back into her home. Mary, like so many people with whom I meet, fell through the cracks. She's facing eviction because she wasn't on her lease, and her landlord sued to evict her. She didn't go to court. She never defended herself. She didn't know where to turn, and she lost everything. As I gave her the bad news, she leaned forward on her metal chair, wearing a loose, baggy sweatshirt, jeans, black and white Nike high tops. I said, "There's nothing we can do." She fell silent. After a few seconds, she said, "This isn't fair. Why is this happening to me? I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't hurt anyone. Isn't there something I can do? Isn't there someone I can talk to?" I said, unfortunately, that it was too late in the legal process. It couldn't be undone. She looked down at her shoes. There's nothing I could say. I fell silent too. After a few seconds, she said, "I'll be okay. I've been through worse. I've been evicted. I've been homeless. I've had to sleep in my car. But what about my kids? My daughter has breathing problems, and my son just started at a new school. What's going to happen to them?" There's nothing I could say to her. And she walked out of the office. That was the last time I ever saw her. So I'm Sateesh. I'm a lawyer. According to the American Bar Association, there's 1.2 million lawyers in America. Most of them work for corporations or for the government. But I'm different. I work in legal services, which means I work for free on behalf of those who can't afford lawyers. Over a 20-year career, I've represented more than 1,000 people, and I've never lost a case. I've come in second many times. That's a bad joke. But lawyers like me are really struggling. We're underpaid, overworked, and our jobs are increasingly stressful. According to the ABA, there's 1.3 million lawyers for 330 million people, but there's only 10,000 free lawyers like me. In New York City, where I work, population 8 million, there are fewer than 1,300 free lawyers. That means there's only one lawyer for every 6,000 people. That's why Mary fell through the cracks and got evicted. It's called the Access to Justice Gap. Every year in America, there are millions and millions of civil legal justice problems that are going unaddressed. And 92% of these problems will never find a solution because there aren't enough lawyers. We aren't going to be able to lawyer our way out of this crisis. So imagine for a second that you're in a serious car accident and you're badly hurt. You're taken to the hospital. And when you get there, they say, "I'm sorry, we can't help you. We don't have enough resources. But here's a 500-page book on surgery. Good luck." So that's what's happening to millions of ordinary people across the country. They're being asked to perform surgery on themselves. And the gap is getting wider. There are fewer and fewer people like me who are willing to do this kind of work. So we need a solution. So it's 2022, and I'm hearing about AI everywhere. AI is being applied to all kinds of problems. And I'm thinking, why not the access to justice problem? Maybe it can help. But I'm a lawyer. I don't know anything about AI. I don't know anything about technology. So I went to the source. I asked ChatGPT, how do you work? And explain it to me like I'm a child. And this is what I got. It said, imagine that you have a magical coloring book that can draw any picture that you want because it's seen millions and millions of pictures and it knows exactly how they look. So it can draw a dragon playing soccer, or a cat in a hat, or an Emory student drinking a Pepsi. I know it's a local joke. So that's how AI works. And I thought, what if instead of a magical coloring book, you had a magical law book? What if you had a magical guidebook that can help people fight evictions? Wouldn't that be incredible? Maybe this could solve the access to justice problem. Mind blown. Do people still do that? I just did it. So I started doing research. I went to conferences as far away as San Francisco and Amsterdam. I talked to as many people as I could. And eventually, I became the expert. People started coming to me and saying, you've got to do something about this. So my team and I built a chatbot in New York City to help tenants who are facing eviction and serious housing conditions. And so far, it's worked hundreds and hundreds of times. So I thought, if we could replicate this and apply it across the country, maybe millions and millions of people could benefit from it. Instead of going to a legal services office where they turn you away because they don't have resources, you could have a chatbot give you guidance and the right answer in real time, and let the lawyers and paralegals work on the hard stuff, the complex stuff, like going to court, going to trial, preparing for hearings. Everybody would be better off. But there's two big problems to this. One, AI is known to hallucinate. It makes stuff up. Famously, a lawyer in New York used AI in a legal brief and it made up cases, and he got in big trouble. Also, AI has been known to exacerbate racial and gender-based stereotypes. That's very bad. Also, a New York Times reporter was famously encouraged by a chatbot to leave his wife. True story. So, what do we do about this? But there's another big problem in the legal context, and that's called the unauthorized practice of law. Basically, it's illegal for non-lawyers to give legal advice to people because they may not know what they're doing and they may cause more problems. And that includes AI. But guess who is the biggest proponent of these laws against the unauthorized practice of law? Lawyers. They don't want to hurt their business model. But the average person doesn't care. They just want to get help. And so we figured out a few ways to make AI better, but we're not all the way there. First, we're doing what's called prompt engineering. A lot of you probably already know about this. We're learning how to ask AI models the right questions so they can spit out the right answers. And this is working really well in the legal context to reduce hallucinations. Second, we're using Gen AI models with limited knowledge bases. In other words, we're feeding these models the right information so then they regurgitate the right information. So we feed it a legal treatise or know your rights guide, and it can help someone using only that information. This is working really well. This could save legal services across the country. This could help millions and millions of people. But I still think about Mary sometimes. And I think if only she had come to me earlier, maybe we could have stopped her from becoming homeless, from being evicted. But I don't have a time machine. I'm not Marty McFly. I don't have a DeLorean. But what if Mary had an AI chatbot back then? What if that chatbot told her to write a letter to her landlord asking to be added to her lease? Maybe she would have had a different outcome. Maybe she wouldn't be homeless today. We'll never know, but there's hope. So basically, we need to do everything possible to protect those who are the most vulnerable in our society. We have this tool before us. We need to use it. No stone should be left unturned. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be much better. Thank you.